My name is Jay. I am the host of the show. Welcome to Real Men, Real Talk, Live. Welcome back to the studio again. My name is Jay. I am the host of the show. I am here to introduce my co-host this evening, Jeff Pisano, coming in from Nashville, Tennessee. Evis Love Heath, the man of the land from down under. He calls Australia home. And we have Josh Richard coming in tonight live from Sony Studios in Southern California. Welcome back, gentlemen. Good to see you tonight.
It's nice to be back with the brothers again. The four amigos are back in town.
Yeah, it is, Ev. We missed you, man.
Missed you, brothers, man. But I got to say, what a show. It was lit.
Well, we're happy to have you back, man, and can't wait to hear how your weekend was.
Thanks, brother.
Connecting with family and all of that.
Yeah, man. It was nice.
So tonight's show is all about the flow of nothing, episode 120. But before we go there, I want to take a moment here to welcome our viewers and listeners. If you are joining us live streaming from YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, welcome home to Real Men Real Talk Live. If you should hear something that you like or love, we always encourage and invite you to tap your love button on your monitor and light us up. And if you have any questions or comments, drop them down in your comment section, and we'll do our best to address as many of these as we can. I want to take a moment here to welcome our viewers coming in from all over the world. If you're coming in from overseas, let us know what country you reside in. And if you are coming in from the U.S., let us know what city or state you call home. We have Sherry Olson, Veronica Williams, Nancy Clarkson, Shannon Thompson, Mary Kelly in the background moderating. And of course, we have Mr. Bob Phillips, the man coming in from the Canyon in Sedona, Arizona. Tonight's episode is all about nothing. This is a topic, this is a no-topic show that Jeff Pisano has been asking for a long time. Every time we get into our production meeting, he goes, I really want to do a show about nothing. And so yesterday in our production meeting, one more time it came up, and I think we just all agreed that we were going to let Jeff put his hands in a cookie jar and pull out a show topic about nothing. What does that really mean? What is the flow of nothing show? Jeff, since this is your topic, why don't you tell us what we're going to talk about tonight, since we have nothing to talk about?
Well, first of all, first of all, we've always, it's not just me, folks. It's Josh and Evis also, agree that one of our shows, we should just come on and have no topic. But tonight we have no topic, kind of, because as we were going through our production meeting and talking, and we started, let's do something on nothing. The nothing became something, and it became a topic. And the topic is really about being in the nothingness of life, being in the nothingness of where nothing may be happening. Can you be in that nothingness where nothing is going on? Can you be in the flow of life and not try to control things in life? And then understand that in the nothingness that we create for ourselves is everything. So in the nothingness of life, in that space, in that empty space that we create for ourselves, by releasing our wounding, by releasing relationships that no longer champion our highest good or service, by releasing all that we no longer need in life, we create a space of nothingness. And it's in that nothingness that creation begins. You can't create anything unless you're in a void of nothingness. So that always comes up in our life. And that's kind of like the no topic kind of topic tonight.
Nothing light. With a hint of something.
I'm curious, what's your take on us just getting together here tonight and not really having a topic, but we kind of, I know
Have
we're
a
gonna,
topic.
I know we're gonna go somewhere with this topic of nothingness. What does this mean to you in your life today, buddy?
Yeah, brother. I mean, like when I've just listened to Jeff there, and thanks again for welcoming back my brothers and the sisters across the other side of the pond. But when I was just listening to you there, Jeff, a big word came up for me in that nothingness, my friend, and that was trust. The trust in the process, the trust in the present moment, because we don't give our time for nothingness much these days. I find so many of us have always got something, somebody around, or something to do. So in that nothingness, great example. I was out on country yesterday afternoon. I was in the nothingness, man. I was in the zone. I was zenned out. I was in deep meditative transcendental practice. And out of that nothingness, I felt a presence. I opened my eyes and I had a little furry friend sitting with me right in front of the sun to capture that moment. Now, I know in my heart, that's my ancestors hanging around just to say everything's okay and they're around. But to have that such a special moment within each and every our lives, we've got to be in that stillness of the nothingness. Otherwise, the brain, I know Josh is going to drop in and talk about this, man. The brain wants the knowingness. It wants to have predictability. But what about those times when we can be in the nothingness? It allows us to cultivate some of these beautiful experiences. And like you mentioned, Jeff, get into the flow of life.
So true, Ev. And that's that being, right? How often are we human doings? I spent my entire, up until I was probably 38, being a vicious human doing. Doing, mapping out, having backups on my backups, and always planning. And first of all, when does life ever turn out the way that we plan it to? And then secondly, if we just let go of all of that need to control and drop into being, oh man, that's where the play is. That's where the fun is. That's where life gets interesting. You can ebb and flow. You don't have to stick to the plan. I mean, we wrote the plan anyway. Change it up. I was going to go sit in a small room where it was quiet, and I was beautifully guided by somebody to say, show everybody the lot. And I was like, well, yeah, why not? So here I am outside on Sony. I'm sitting out front of a closed coffee bean. End of the day, everybody's walking around. Sound stages are back here. And why not?
Why not, brother?
It's a show about nothing anyway.
Well,
So here we are in the now, in the moment.
Last
together.
week, Josh, our show is all about the state of create, which is interesting because it's counterintuitive to the show about nothing. I want to ask you, in your role as art director at the Tank, how much time do you spend in living in that space of the flow of nothing versus like, how do you come up with, how much do you lean into the nothing state versus the mind state or the head state to come up with your creative ideas for the sets?
Jeff, you called it in our pre-meeting when you said that when you shoot, you have to be in that nothing space.
Yeah.
And it's so true. You can't mentally control, we can't will creativity to show up on our doorstep. We have to trust creativity will show up on our doorstep. And so, yeah, there's an immense amount of planning involved in pulling off a production, and all of that keeps me up here, absolutely. But when I have to create and pull from, I always take a breath. I'm like, okay, I'm tasked with a problem that I don't know the solution, and I drop into that space of I'm going to open myself up to answers instead of trying to constrict and force one. Because if we think about the vast expanse of possibilities, when we get so hell-bent on one, we have blinders on to anything
Mhm.
else.
Mhm.
And I think that is that what you were talking about, Jeff? What does that
Yeah.
space feel like for you?
As an artist, it's put it this way. Just think of folks, think of a painter. Ev, do you have your piece of art there handy? Is it right there?
Funny you said
Nope.
that, Jeff.
Let's see it.
There you go. Look at that, folks.
Oh man, dude, that's beautiful.
So that's the ink. That's the black and white version, and there's color one on the way.
But before that was there, it was blank.
That's right.
Right, I'm trying to point to the yes.
So, yes, I love what Mary Kelly said here. Check this out. She says,
"Ebb and flow."
That's brilliant. I'm curious, Mary Kelly. Did that come from your head, or did that come from your heart? Did that come from somewhere? Did that come from nowhere?
Definitely heart space, sister, because it was on my heart as well when Josh said it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and you guys, I mean, tapping into what you're just talking about there, Josh and Jeff. You know, when I did listen to the show last week about creativity, in that process, I mean, in the nothingness is really what you were talking about, Jeff, being in that dark room as the photographer. You know, Josh, you mentioned you were in the dark for a minute, trying to feel your way through what art direction was within your life. Even Jay was in the dark. He didn't know, he wasn't certain of that map or that plan, but it is that trust in the process. And when we do look at the creative process, I mean, a lot of people, they talk about, you know, there's preparation to go into this. But for me, that first step, it's just in that total darkness. And I might go out on country, man. That's where I get half my downloads for this sort of art. And I'll just sit with my eyes closed in the dark room. And then it's from that point you start to get and cultivate those particular ideas. And then that's when they call that creative process the illumination, illuminate to light. So the ideas start flowing, and then it's the execution or the action. But so many of us, we just want to have that result done yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah. Why do you think that is, Ev? What part of us is impatient?
Ego. Ego is very impatient.
Yeah, exactly.
The brain wants to know everything. Yeah. It just wants to keep us out of safety. And that's the thing from an evolutionary point. You know, that's all the brain's hooked up to do. But when you can control that part of you and just say, look, everything's cool, man. We're not getting chased by the tiger anymore. Let's just be in this stillness like at the start of our show tonight and see what happens from that.
Yep.
How long did that feel when we went live and there was total silence? Any idea how? I have no idea how long we were quiet for.
Ask the
viewers. What are our audience? What are our viewers saying out there, man?
I would guess it felt like an eternity.
It did. I was waiting for Jay to, pop in to come in there.
Well, I did eventually.
Well, hey, guys, just think about it. I don't know how long that was, 30 seconds at the most, maybe. Folks, 30 seconds doing something like this or being in silence is an eternity. How long are you willing to be and sit in the quietness of nothingness? 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds? Or can you be in it for a week, 2 weeks, a month? Having absolutely stillness in your life and not much is going on, and find out where you need to, like Josh said earlier, I need to do something. we were talking in our production meeting, you know, Jay, and there, like for me, there might be weeks that go by where I don't have any, you know, photo shoots. That starts to test our faith and trust that eventually they will come, because you've got to go into that nothingness or that void for a while to empty everything out, especially as being a creative person, because that's where you restore yourself. So you can look at that nothingness in your life as something that's restorative, where you're creating that void, and then you start setting your intentions of what you'd like in your life, not goals, but intentions, and then affirm the intentions, and allow the universe to respond. That's the faith, and that's the trust. And Jay, we were talking about that in our production meeting. Having the faith and trust that we are putting that energy out into the world through knowing what our intentions are, and then allowing the universe, thus being in the flow of it, allowing the universe bringing it to us that is in our soul plan.
Let me ask you this then, guys. Okay, I know at least one of you guys has been a sports fan. You've heard of the full court press, right? In basketball.
Yeah.
What would happen?
Please explain.
Well, Jeff, I'll let you.
For our viewers that don't know what a full court.
You want me to explain it?
Yeah,
yes, please, Jeff.
In a brief moment.
Okay, so if everybody's watched basketball and one team scores a basket, that the team that's just scored the basket, the other team's got to take it out from out of bounds underneath the basket and bring it in. That one team that just scored the basket that's on defense will press the other team, sometimes in a zone, but man to man. You'd have 5 guys on 5 guys pressing in that in the defensive zone.
Right. So what would happen if in the middle of the full court press, the play gets called is that it's going to be the flow of nothing, where we're going to do nothing. Will there be a winner and a loser in that moment? I know I'm kind of stretching this out there, but I bring this up because it just came to me. How often are we living in our own internal full court press? And what I mean by that is, it was just a couple of 24 hours ago that I looked at our business calendar, and we had a very slow. August is traditionally an off month. We live in a very tourist community, and it's seasonal. And now that COVID is dissolved, it's gone. And the travel, people are not driving to Arizona, they're boarding airplanes. It's back to the slow seasons. And I looked into the September calendar, and it was extremely, very, very, very slow. And I basically just put it out there in the universe, and I was like, all right, well, what's going to happen? And I basically, instead of going full court press into my thoughts, into concern, into fear, into worry, I looked at Mary and I said, maybe we just gotta, we gotta do more meditation. We gotta spend more time asking for what we want. And literally that same day, which was yesterday, Mary got 2 massive bookings for big parties. And then I got a very, very nice booking today. So we got our needs met. And it's because we didn't go full court press. And it's one thing that we have learned to embrace, because in our lifestyle that we live today, we don't have a steady income. We're not employees. And so we depend and lean into the universe or source to bring us abundance, not on our time, but when it's the right time. And so there's an example of, my past life is always about the full court press, always trying to control the tempo, always trying to control the outcome. Why? Because I wanted to win every single time. I didn't want to lose. I felt like a loser as a teenager, and I didn't want to spend my adult life feeling like a loser anymore. So for me, my goal was always to win. And today, as I said in a coaching session with a beautiful man this afternoon, I said, when we are willing to let go of living in goal set and change our relationship to just setting intentions. And for me, the most powerful intention that I can set every day of the rest of my life that I get another breath to live is to turn it over, is to just trust, live in faith over fear, and let all the thoughts go. And just trust that when I have that slow time or that slow season, it means that it's time for me to do some deeper work. It's time for me to show up for myself, right? And so I say, no more full court press. Not here, not now. No more, no mas.
So and every time, Jay, that I lean into that, I'm rewarded.
There you go.
So huge. This spring, we even talked about it on the show when I had an offer for a show, and I was freaking out about cash. And I said, you know what? No, I'm going to step into the fear, step into the unknown, step out of my brain, and just say, I'm going to be okay. And I was rewarded so the amount of amazing work I did on myself and within myself, the amount of connections and fun that I had during that time. Things came up just like you, Jay. We're always supported. We just have to trust that. And I was rewarded like 20-fold over that. And I even thought during the middle of those months that I was just having an amazing time. I mean, you guys saw me in Big Bear. I was up in, Santa Barbara. I was living life instead of being stuck on a stage. And yeah, when I looked back during the middle of that time, I was like, wow, I would have been on a show right now with a boss that I, hated. And I would have sold myself out. Right, Ev? We always talk about betraying ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Now here's another piece to that puzzle, Josh, is that it took such courage for you to say no thank you to that small little project that was going to kind of hold you over to back in the season. But you knew it wasn't good for you, and you were willing. It may have been one of the most profound times that you said no. Now what that opened you up for is not only to have that experience, and it's simple, not easy to go through that. Believe me, we don't know what that feels like unless you've gone through it. But I do believe that through that practice and that process of you having that massive experience, it opened you up to infinite possibilities, even around creating a new relationship with a woman who right now you're really enjoying your time with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
It gave me so much, and it's something we have to be realistic about it too. The squirrel brain does come in. It's not like you just say no and you're magically good and the world is filled with rainbows, and it comes back in and it freaks out and it's like, what the hell are you doing, man? Have you looked at our bank account? And it does. The brain freaks out. So we get to, in those moments, manage, redirect our thoughts, reframe, choose more supportive thoughts, say, brain, I hear you. I appreciate you trying to keep me safe. Like Ev said, we're not being chased by a tiger, even though it feels like it. And we take back our power. Mm-hmm. And we say, thank you, but not today.
Yeah.
Love that, brother.
That stuff came up a lot, and just like it did for you, Jay. And we can easily get caught in it, but when we just in each moment say, nope, thank you, I'm gonna do this instead.
Oh, good.
Bring a attention real quick. Carrie Crary coming in from the Scottsdale area, who launched a holistic healing center about a month or so ago, and she says, "What a great message, right on time." And not to go too deep into this, but Carrie, and for me, being an observer, a conscious observer, paying attention to what you're going through as a new business owner. This is right on time, because we either go full court press and live in the fear, or we start to practice turning our fears and our thoughts over to a power much greater than what we could ever create or produce. We call it God, you could call it Jesus, you could call it the universe, you could call it source. It doesn't matter what our relationship is with it around a name. What matters is that we believe it's infinite possibilities. And when we are willing to get out of our own way and just show up and do our part, but also have that daily relationship and living in trust and faith, we will see things unfold, even if it's not on a day or the time that we want it to, but it will show up. I also want to acknowledge Kristen Carabella coming in from the Midwest. She says, I'm in a place of dark energy and letting it go to be and grieve in a nothingness. But now I'm left with endless possibilities, from nothing to whatever I want.
There it is.
You know,
One of the
things to remember too, we want to look at it from the energetically, where everything is all energy. And what Jay calls putting on a full court press, meaning that we're trying to control everything. We're in our heads. What do I need to do? How am I going to get out of this? What is the next gig coming from? Oh, I don't have this, I'm that. What we're doing when we do that is we're clogging the energy flow.
Yeah.
Clogging that energy flow by placing or expending and creating all of this energy into trying to control it, trying to figure it out, all in our minds. And then we are just clogging an energy flow coming to us.
Yep.
So what we have to do, we've got to do our best to be cognizant and aware and conscious of that, and then go release it, let it go. And once we do, we're creating nothingness.
Let me throw this out there. Go ahead, Josh, and I'm going to throw something.
I was going to say, what hit me real quick when Jeff was talking, it's a dance, right?
Yeah.
But how fun is a dance if your partner is going, okay, you step here, I'm going to step here. Put your arm around me here. Don't squeeze too tight. But then I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. And then we're going to, no, wait, don't do that. I'm supposed to do that. Like, how fun is that?
So Josh, can you show us an example of what dancing?
You want me to dance out here?
Come on, brother.
A dance with nothing looks.
Oh, here we go.
The dance of nothing?
Yeah.
Oh, the dance of nothing is just like, you're just cruising in the universe. I'm like, hey, look, there's flowers. I'm going to go smell the flowers right now.
There's Josh Richard. He is live from Sony Studios for Shark Tank. I just had a full massive day of.
Love it, brother.
I'm going to flow back in.
Hey, brother, did I see a push up in there as well?
I smelled the flowers. How often do we stop and smell the flowers?
All right, so Josh,
there you go.
This is a truth moment. There's only one answer. It's the honest answer. Is that the first time in 14 years that you got down on the ground in Sony Studios and smelled the flowers?
Yep.
How'd that feel?
Felt amazing.
Right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So your relationship,
Good call, Jay. Good call.
that relationship with the bed of flowers, I guarantee it will never be the same. Now that you had that intimate moment, because you were in flow, looking for nothing, no expectations, there was no goal set, you weren't full court press. I just invited you to just go with the flow and look where it took you. Right?
Yep.
Right?
You're right. I will walk past that every day now and have a chuckle.
So I want to segue here. Rachel Fiore says, ha, ha, ha. Rachel Fiore, welcome to Self University. Welcome to Real Men Real Talk Live. She says, I love it, Josh. Smell those flowers. Thank you.
Yeah, Rachel.
I want to kind of switch gears here and kind of bring up a topic that
Wait, there's no topic.
Well, there's no topic. This is the show. But having said that, how many times have any one of you guys been single? And been single meaning that you're not in a committed relationship and you feel lonely. And there's a part of you that goes into those deep thoughts around why am I not in a relationship? Why can't I be in a relationship? What's wrong with me? Now I'm giving an extreme here, but what role does being in the flow of nothing have to do with creating or finding yourself in, I call it a healthy relationship, as opposed to a toxic, unhealthy one, which many of us have come from? How do we change our relationship with that? So can we create a relationship, or can a relationship show up when we get out of our heads around feeling that strong pull for the full court press to be in a new relationship?
100%, brother. And the only time that happens, my brothers and sisters, and when it really does come back, is to you aligning back to yourself. One big thing for me, my brothers and sisters, even though I'm single again now, but back in the day, if I was single, what you're talking about there, Jay, is that fear of loneliness. It's a fear. It's that false evidence appearing real again. But I always,
it's all right.
Sorry, brother?
Or forgetting everything's all right.
It's all right. But one big for me, and you all know that I'm very, very connected with my culture. We were always taught that you're never alone. You're never alone, brothers and sisters. So even if you are out there and you are single at the moment, my brothers and sisters, and you're feeling a little bit lonely, it's different to feeling alone. I've said this on the show before, because when I see that word alone, I see all one. You come back to the one. So this is allowing you to build your own confidence again. This is allowing you to get into true self-alignment again. And you start to build that self-esteem, that inner value, and that self-worth, to know that no matter what happens in life, brothers and sisters, good or bad, that you're always going to be looked after. You're never alone. Never alone.
I like that. Alone or all one. That's a good one, Ev.
It's a perception, brother.
And that's what we mean by we have control over all of this. Our whole experience. We're choosing our thought patterns, whether we like to take ownership of that or not. It's a choice. Just like smelling the flowers.
Yeah, that was good.
And it's about being with the feelings. Ev just said, if you're feeling lonely or you're feeling alone, underneath that, what are the feelings that are coming up that you're feeling in the moment that you don't have a partner? What we can do, and I was actually explaining this to a friend last week who is creating his own new startup business. And he's been creating that for about 2 years with a couple of other people. And he is constantly looking at, and this is what, after he was talking and telling me a lot of things, everything that he said was, this is not in my life. He was looking at what isn't in his life constantly.
There you go.
Constantly. This is what's not there. When I had a job and was making this, I had this, this, and this. And now I don't have this, 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 and this. And it was a constant conversation or flow from him of what isn't in his life. Yeah. So when we come into that place of, we're not in a significant relationship. The gigs aren't coming right now. One of the tools that we can use is just look at what is in your life. Look at the relationships that you have with others who you're close with. Our mind, our ego can tend to keep us in this place. We'll always have us look at what isn't in our life, what I'm not yet, what I haven't done. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I haven't done that I still want to do, but there's a hell of a lot of things that I have done. And I've got great relationships with people. That is a new practice. It's a new practice for me because I can really stay and focus on what isn't in my life, and I have. So a new practice is when my ego wants to take me there of what isn't in my life, I've got to be conscious of that and shift it. And even if I have to sit and write down what is in my life, who is in my life, then you will realize that actually the glass is a little more than half full.
Hey, Jeff, there's another piece of it too. We could be thankful for people that aren't in our life anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right?
true, but we want to stay in a place because then we can go to that place. It's really about if they're not in our life anymore, bravo for us that we've let go of those relationships because that doesn't serve us energetically anymore.
Yeah.
Bravo for us where we have taken the steps to release what we needed to release in life. And bravo for us to now begin to look at, wow, my life is fulfilled because I have these wonderful relationships. I've created that. I've made those choices.
So let me ask you this then, Jeff. Okay, so is it possible that this person that you're describing, which is millions of people that live in that space,
Mm-hmm.
is it possible that that's just their what they were taught, that they were taught to
Sure.
focus on what they don't have rather than that they do? And do you think it's possible that we could break free of that when we realize, when we can have the conscious awareness that that's not even mine. That is a belief system. That is a behavior that I was taught by a mentor or a teacher, like a parent or a caretaker that may have raised us or had a major influence on our life.
No doubt.
Right. So if we're seeing the cup as half empty versus half full, one of the things that I do, and Jeff, you really nailed it, is when I'm working with my clients, I encourage them to always take time to really measure their progress, because we spend so much time thinking about what we don't have, what we haven't accomplished, as opposed to, like, if I didn't take time each week starting in 2015, I probably wouldn't be alive today if I hadn't learned how to get into the habit of really taking a moment to breathe, taking a moment to sit in silence and just measure the progress. As one of my first coaches, Jay Shetty, said, baby steps, big priority. And that's the truth, is like, it's so easy to get roped into what we don't have, even when we have just overcome let's say a very major issue in our life. Within a couple of weeks, we're back to focusing on what we don't have again.
Yeah.
And so how do we break free of that? Ev, what do you think?
There's a big fancy word for this, and Ev, I think you know what this daily appreciation is called.
Oh, brother, gratitude, maybe.
Exactly.
But it's
It
practice.
seems small,
Mm-hmm.
but it will absolutely change your life. And it's so easy in the morning to not do it. A little gratitude list for yourself.
Yeah.
However, it is so powerful to get in that frame. When you're stuck in the negative frame of mind, it's an amazing practice. It saved my life. Absolutely. And I'm not just being over grandiose about it. It seems so tiny, but it really, when I did that for months and did it every day, and I had my little notebook that was just, it was like a back pocket sized notebook, and I just filled that out every morning with 10 things I was grateful for.
So
It's such a practice. We've all of us here, we've practiced the other way for years.
Yeah.
How much have we practiced the other way, looking at what isn't in our life? And what we're trying to do is retrain our nervous systems.
There you go.
To look at what we have in our life, what is in our life, but I'm gonna pass this on to Evis Heath. One of the things that came up in our production meetings that Ev pointed us to, it always comes back to us. Well, we have to really realize that we are the source of everything in our life.
Mm-hmm. That's it, brother. Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. Like you gave a great metaphor last week with your dark room. Listening from the outside as the observer, I picked up on all the symbolism. And when you talk about that dark room, the old school dark room, what was the next thing you had to do? After you took the shot to capture the moment, you went into the dark room, but what did you put it in?
Well,
you put it in a solution, didn't you?
Yeah, but
I don't make this stuff up, man.
Wait,
guy.
Ev, before you get to the solution, wait a second. Before you get to the solution, which is called developer, you have to shine light on that piece of photograph paper. So you're in the dark with a safe light, but it's very dark. The only way that you could begin to create that image is by shining light on that piece of photographic paper. And when you do that, that's when you put it in the developer or the solution. But then after that, in order for it to be fixed, is you have to put it into fixer, which holds everything in place. And that fixer is our practice. Our fixer is our new practice of looking at what is in our life. Gratitude, beginning to practice that. It's a daily practice. I know it is for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I want to take a moment here. I want to shift gears here and go from nothing, which turns into something. I want to take a moment.
Apparently.
Last week, Evis did not join us. He was at a family event, and he didn't really share too much about it. But you have shared a little bit of a backstory in the past, many episodes ago. We're at 120 tonight. You had talked about your relationship with your father when you were younger, and I know that there was some darkness in that relationship, some very heavy darkness. I'd like for you to take a moment here to share what it was like for you to show up for your father last week while we were live talking about creation. What have you created differently for yourself and your relationship with your father to be able to show up and honor him in the book launch that you attended last week? What was that like for you? And did anything come up for you? Any old shadows, wounds, or triggers? Or this is your moment to turn a light on that moment that one time was very dark in your life.
Yeah, man. Look, I've talked about this on plenty of episodes, but like that quick backstory. And look, I'm not going to actually just say that it was all dark, my brothers and sisters, because I've said this many times that relationship with that masculine energy, like I said, it doesn't have to be my father. I call it a masculine energy, a toxic masculine energy, that I also had the light as well. So what I always talk about now is being able to integrate both this dark and the light. And that beautiful day last week where my brothers and sisters were talking about creativity, I was experiencing all colors of the color spectrum. So the magic about that particular day was that the family was all there as the one. And we got to experience, like I said, all those colors in the spectrum to realize that this is just what we are, my brothers and sisters. So this is not about, just pushing down and pushing away from this dark matter, like one of our sisters said out there, or this darkness that's happened within our life, but more so embracing it. because why I wear this necklace now, you see that there's just a little diamond in all of that darkness. And on the back of that, I always say to myself, I shine the brightest in my darkness. And that was the biggest lesson that I could really share with my brothers and sisters, because it was a beautiful moment, but that moment came from so much self-development work. It came from my inner deep journey, and it became through the power of forgiveness.
There you go.
And you freed yourself.
Freed myself.
Take that in with you for a second.
You know, Ev, what's coming forward for me is we spend so much time watching our mental health become compromised. And we go see a doctor, we go see a therapist, we go see a psychiatrist. Next thing you know, we're giving a medical code so that they could put us on pharmaceuticals to manage our anxiety, to manage our depression, to manage our dark thoughts, to manage our pain. There is an alternative way to navigate. And you hit it out of the park. It's called forgiveness. When we are able to and willing to free ourselves of our pain, there is a beautiful process to self-forgiveness and forgiveness of those that have harmed and hurt us. And there is no pharmaceutical drug on the market that can be as powerful as the gift of forgiveness that comes from within us. I'm speaking from experience because I was a pharmaceutical junkie. I was on psych meds for 21 years. And it contributed to my medical decline, medical conditions that nearly killed me. And 7 years ago, when I began my spiritual awakening, I made a conscious decision to wean myself off of those pharmaceuticals. And I share this because this is my story. I'm not telling you to stop taking your meds tonight if you're on them, but what I am sharing with you is my truth. And my truth is that freedom didn't come from 21 years of being on those psych meds that just numbed me out and put me into a deeper state of isolation from my own feelings and emotions. But what brought me to the gateway of freedom was when I was willing to learn how to forgive, the true essence of forgiveness. Now it's simple, not easy, because I could tell you guys, as much as I wanted to totally be free of resentments and anger towards my own parents, it took time. It took me 5 years of doing my inner work to just finally, it was just a couple of years ago where I finally was fully released of that pain. And oh my God, I am so grateful that my mom's alive and I can be free of all of that internal darkness that I had around that relationship. And I could just love my mom and accept her right where she's at, right where she's at in her life, and have a very, very healthy relationship. I believe for the first time in my adulthood. And that, my friends, is something about nothing. And so, Ev, I want to thank you for bringing that to this topic tonight, the flow of nothingness. But within nothingness, there is freedom, there is inner peace, there is comfort, there's calm, there's serenity, there's gratitude. Most important is love.
As Jeff
Thank
so
you, Jeff.
beautifully said it in the beginning of the show, in nothing lives everything.
I just got chills, so there must be some truth in what I shared.
Thank you, Jay. And Ev for sharing both of your stories tonight. Beautiful, man. Feeling both of you guys.
My pleasure.
And that's this beautiful space of, we do show up with minimal outline on the show every week. We have a topic, but we don't discuss what necessarily. We throw out ideas, and how often do we stick to the script that we
Not that often.
what I love is the space that we hold for each other, and that's that trust, right? We supremely trust one another on this show for men. And how often do we have that level of trust with men in our lives? I didn't ever until you guys. So this safe space that we hold allows us to be able to play and be and dance and be stupid and look stupid and know that we're not being judged and we're not being, in fact, we're being celebrated. So I hope that all of you out there can find and create this for yourselves too. And that's why we show up doing this show every week, is we're celebrating this space that we're in too. I love you guys. And I supremely trust that you are never gonna, hijack me on the show, or, if anything, I'm calling out all of my own faults, and you guys are just holding space for me. And that's, man, that's in the nothingness, there's everything. It's in that trust with you all, and just showing up week after week and dropping in with you guys and just talking. It's my favorite part of the week.
Beautiful, brother.
I love you all.
Thanks for being here, man. Thanks for being here.
It's in that we have to go into that place of nothingness to realize that everything is there. When we go into the place of nothingness, we're leaving our mental body and moving into our heart. And that is first and foremost, that's a lot of trust to do that, because we all want to control our lives. We all want to know what the outcome is. We all want to know what's next. We all want to know, if in fact I do this, what will happen? And I need to be prepared for it. That's all in our mind, and everybody knows that. To move into the nothingness is about leaving your mental body and moving into your heart space. And it's in that place that everything exists. The realm of possibility is in that place. That's where our creativity comes. And I'm not just talking creativity as an artist, it's the creativity to create your life. All the answers are there. And Ev said something that was very important, at least to me, in our production meeting. I'm of the knowingness that it's not everything is here in the third dimension. Knowing that there is a higher power, the universe, whatever you want, in a multi-dimensional way. Ev always talks about the 5D. But knowing that the universe, which is beyond what we're living in right now, in this dense vibration of the third dimension, will provide everything that we need when we need it. But we have to go in and trust that that will happen. And one of the things that we do on this show, the reason why we might come up with a topic, and then most shows just take on a flow of its own, is because the four of us, you've heard us say it, I just got a download. Oh, this just came to me. That's trusting and opening ourselves up to something higher, and a message comes through, and we're sharing it and channeling it.
Love that. Beautiful. Well, guys, since tonight's show is a show about nothing and we're going to just trust, I want to invite into the studio a surprise visitor this evening coming in from Montana. His name is Sarah, except I'm not seeing him.
Sarah's in nothing.
I see him in the back studio, but there
He's in the void of nothing.
Unmute yourself.
Welcome to the show, man.
I just unmuted you. Nope. Can't hear you. Can you unmute? Nope. Cannot hear you.
Soroko has to do it from his side.
You have to unmute it from your side. So this is a show about clearly is a show about hearing nothing. We'll take them back out and see if we can make it back in. If not, we got a few minutes till we call it a wrap tonight. Tonight was a beautiful show. Takeaways from tonight?
It's fun to dance, man. In fact, when you guys are done, I'm just going to go back there and dance my way out of the show.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun looking at Culver City behind Josh. I have been in on that lot many a time when I lived there.
Mm-hmm.
That's not one of your photographs on top of that building, though, is that?
Oh.
The Columbia TriStar.
Yeah,
Well,
really.
She said she'd like to see us dance. I know, Josh.
You guys got to get up and dance with me. We're going to dance our way out of the show. We got 3 minutes.
I'll dance sitting down because I got no room to dance.
We don't need any music.
Here we go. Yeah, man.
Just like,
Brother's got the moves, man. Love it.
This is how we play in life.
Yeah.
And just be.
That's the magic, brother. And your brother said it last week. It's time to play, brothers and sisters. It's time to play in the playground.
Play ain't happening here.
Be in the void of nothingness, which is where everything lies. All your answers lie there. You have to allow them. Well, it's not about you have to do anything. Allow them to come to you. Download them. You can access them. The answers are all there. They always are if we just let go and be in the nothingness. And the nothingness doesn't mean that there's nothing there. Everything is in the void. Everything is in the silence. Everything is in the nothingness. We just have to release it energetically and allow it to appear in our lives the way it's going to appear in our lives, not the way we planned it.
Beautiful, Jeff. Totally. How often do we plan it?
I can tell you so many things in my life that in my life and my career that happened. 90% of it was never planned. We just have to follow the path of life, follow the flow, be with the ebbs and the flows of life, be malleable in life.
Love it.
Beautiful.
Looks like you're getting a toe there, Josh, in the background.
I think he's coming to trim the flowers or plant some more.
Right. This has been really fun, you guys.
Considering we had no topic and the show was about nothing in flow, or flow of nothingness, I think we did a pretty good job covering nothing tonight. What do you guys think?
I'm not thinking anything.
Nothing.
Katrina says, "Ooh, I made it." Katrina, you're gonna have to watch the replay coming in from up north of Seattle, Vancouver Island, Canada area, one of those spots. But glad you made it. Yeah, it's never over. We're just beginning, Katrina. It's just beginning, girl. But you got to watch the replay. Well, you don't have to do anything except do nothing. But with that note, I want to let you guys know next week will be the first show that I will be missing. First show in 120 episodes. I believe I've made every one.
Whoa.
But I will not be here next week. So that's a surprise for you guys as well. Ev, I'll turn over the reins for you to manage the production of the show. You've done it before, and we'll make sure that you're set up. Vancouver Island is where Katrina May is coming in from. But in any event, I will be here in spirit. I will be watching the show as a viewer, as I am en route to a concert in the Phoenix area to see Keith Urban.
Oh, wow.
I've not seen Keith Urban, and Mary surprised me with a gift of tickets to see him. And
Nice.
so
A Nashville resident.
we will be dancing next week, Josh.
All right.
Watch
All
the dude.
right.
Watch the dude play the guitar.
We'll do that. All right, Josh, you want to smell the flowers one last moment, and then we're going to close this show out, put a pretty bow on the show.
I'm gonna dance my way down here. You guys have fun. Love you, everybody. Thanks for joining us for nothing.
Wait, he left his laptop behind. Good thing that's all fake behind him because it's not a real neighborhood.
And so I say, it's been a wrap. Josh Rich is still dancing. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us this evening on Real Men, Real Talk Live.